But at any rate, Jerry, I'll let you do this real quick because this is one of your good friends, one of your good buddies. I'll let you introduce our next guest.
That's my guy. We got him on the line right now, ladies and gentlemen. We got our host, our guest for the evening. His name is Steve Edwards, former Chicago Bear, played with some other teams in the NFL, currently with the Arizona Rattlers. So we definitely appreciate him taking time. Arizona Rattlers of the Arena Football League, former Mount Carmel standout, Steve Edwards. So ladies and gentlemen, let's bring him on. Steve, we appreciate you taking time out your busy schedule, my good man, to join the Sports Critic and partake in this conversation, man. You doing all right this evening?
Oh, yeah, man. Appreciate it, man. Happy to be on, man. I've been keeping up with you guys and on Facebook, and I like what you guys are doing. So I had no problem at all making some time to get on and talk sports.
Man, we definitely appreciate you coming on, man. And I guess I'll start with the first question. I'm Drew Patton. I'm the sports critic, man. I'm kind of the secret brainchild of this. I'm just merely a seed, though. That group page, it goes. I mean, it just, we put some water on it and it grew. So I want to ask you real quick. You were an undrafted player coming out of college, out of Central Florida, man, and your story is very impressive. Kind of talk about, we always talk about the draft. Kind of talk about what it's like for the undrafted player and just the perils and just the things that you have to do to really make it on a roster.
Oh, man. I could go back to that like it was yesterday. Everybody comes out, they expect and want to get drafted, but, I actually was invited to the NFL Combines. I was, up on some guys' list as one of the top tackles, guards out there, and when that time come around, I was hearing different calls that, in those 2 days span that you have in the draft, you get calls and like, hey, we're looking at you here, looking at you there, and it got to the second day, which I thought that's where I was going to get taken, and, it didn't happen. I was getting calls like, oh, we're looking at you 6th round, Jacksonville, then 7th round, then you get to that 7th round, you start, teams start calling you and like, hey, we're looking at you for free agency when this draft is over if we don't pick you up. So they start putting in their bids. So I was still a wanted guy, so when the draft ended, once you get to the 7th round, you pretty much almost want to be a undrafted rookie free agent because you get to pick your situation. And I was able to kind of, when I got to that point and I knew I wasn't getting drafted to that last pick, I started getting calls flooded in, from everybody. And I kind of got to pick the situation was best for me, and I felt more comfortable, and that was Philadelphia in the beginning. But, it was tough to swallow because I wanted to get drafted. But, I had my family support. I made sure I didn't have a big old party. I didn't want to be all these folks over and I didn't get drafted. But once you get to that point, it's how bad you want and how much work you're willing to put in. And I picked a good situation with the Eagles, not only because Donovan was there, but the offensive line coach, Juan Castillo, is considered one of the best O-line coaches, and he was known for developing undrafted offensive linemen. So he was probably the person who, got me to that transition of being a pro and taking my technique to the next level. And, obviously I spent 4 games with the Eagles on practice squad, and then after that, the Bears picked me up, and the rest is history.
Absolutely. Talking about that for a minute, Steve, just kind of tell us what it was like being a Chicago area guy, getting picked up by your home team. The first time you put that Chicago Bears uniform on for the first game, what was that like for you?
Oh, man, it was crazy. It was actually, it was kind of weird. My rookie year, we were actually in Champaign because, the new Soldier Field was being rebuilt and all that was going on. So we're in Champaign, so it didn't really set in until the next year. I was down in U of I where my brother played ball, and I still had the Bears uniform on, but it didn't really click into my second year when I ended up being a starter in my second year with the Bears. And we had that first home game at Soldier Field, the new Soldier Field against Green Bay on Monday Night Football. And I remember coming out, I was so hyped up that I was about to pass out, in the first couple series, my legs were like wobbly. I ain't had my legs underneath me, and I kept on falling. And all I can remember, Owen Cruz just pulling me aside, just like, what are you doing out there? You better get it together. And I can't say exactly what he said, but I snapped in, and that was the night. Got to see all the old Bears that came back for that, and I was like, man, this is for real. I'm really a Chicago Bear, and those were some great memories. Those 4 years I spent there.
We're speaking to Steve Edwards, former NFL lineman, now with the Arizona Rattlers of the AFL. Want to ask real quick, because Jersey and I was playing with this, and I thought about this a lot. A lot of the times, offensive linemen, you guys, if a quarterback is a great quarterback, you guys kind of fly under the radar. But if the quarterback, kind of, I won't say suck, but maybe struggles a little bit, you guys start to kind of get some of the blame. How does that make you feel as a guy that protects the quarterback, that gets all the love? I mean, nobody rarely even asks an offensive lineman that.
I mean, we're the creatures that are built just to take a lot. We put a lot on our shoulders. We're blue collar type of guys on that field. We don't get any glory. We don't get any write-ups. So we're just kind of built for that. Hey, we take the blame, we get no glory. So that's where we kind of bask in that. But it does get something. It does. You're human. It gets to you. It kind of makes you a little, pissed off. And I went through that a little bit with the Bears. I spent 4 years, and I don't know how many quarterbacks we had. I think maybe 13 started quarterbacks in my 4-year span. So I got a lot of that. And so, you take a lot of the blame, and at times, it was, at times we would get up sacks, but a lot of the times it was the quarterback was holding on to the ball. It was Jonathan Quinn, if y'all can remember that.
Yes, I remember that.
He was notorious for holding on the ball. We got crushed, and people was like, oh, the O-line, and people knew he wasn't that good, but we took a lot of heat for that. It's like, man, they're spinning everybody. They're stacking the box with 9 people. They know we're going to run the ball. So we were put in some bad situations. But, when you got that good quarterback and you don't get that notoriety, it doesn't hurt, because we're happy that he's getting, we're doing good. We got a good quarterback, and we just, at that point, we're just happy to have one back there. Well, believe me, offensive linemen appreciate a good quarterback.
Well, speaking of a good quarterback, I'm actually on record as saying, Steve, that Jay Cutler will have an MVP caliber season if he can get consistent protection from that line. What are your thoughts on Cutler, the player, and is he someone that you like to play with?
Man, I tell you this. A lot of Bears fans gave him a lot of flack, but you can't get your history. Forget. Like I speak of the 4 years that I was there, had 13 quarterbacks. Bears fans have been dying for a quarterback for years, and you got one that is a Pro Bowler. It has MVP potential and the potential to go back to the Pro Bowl again, and you have him. Don't take it for granted. And I like him. I wish I would have had him. If we would have had him back, back in the heyday when we had those strong defenses and Thomas Jones and. We could have made some big noise like the year that, we went to the championship. If we would have had him back then, I think it was a no-brainer. We would have won, maybe a couple Super Bowls when we had that elite defense. So he's an excellent quarterback, and, right now it's about giving him protection, and that's something I think you got to look at the front office in some ways, how they evaluate an offensive lineman. And do they have anybody in that front office that can really evaluate that position? And that's a position that's been slacking over years, but you have to look back at the draft picks that have been wasted over the years by the Bears. We had this discussion. I'm from Chicago, and even though, I play for the Bears, I'm still a, Bears fan, and I can talk stuff with all my boys. And I go back to those wasted draft picks in the 4th and 3rd rounds that they wasted draft picks on guys who they end up releasing. Those have been key, pickups for offensive linemen. So, I think that whole era has to be, better, and we'll see what happens. In the coming future. I know there's a lot of heat on Jerry Angelo, so we'll have to just, I think in the next couple of years you'll have to see some improvement there. There's going to be some changes.
We're speaking to Steve Edwards, former NFL lineman with the Chicago Bears and Eagles, and just multiple teams in the NFL, now playing with the AFL's Arizona Rattlers. And I think my silent partner, my producer, wants to ask you a quick question. Go ahead, silent partner.
I appreciate you joining us, man, very much. And I've been thinking a lot lately about teamwork and teams and teammates and things of that nature, and how bringing people together makes it much greater than just the one individual with all this LeBron business lately and all that. And I don't want to put you on the spot to name your favorite teammate, but can you give us some insight as far as maybe the person that was a teammate that had a great influence on you, that really did you a really wonderful favor by sharing some wisdom, or someone that came before that you really respect?
Man, I mean, obviously, I could point to a couple guys, and one is all recruits. Obviously, he was tough on me, but the smartest football player, best football player I played with, and you got Urlacher Briggs, a lot of those guys, and Donovan and Ray Lewis, but I guess I'm a little biased because I'm offensive lineman.
Yeah.
Ola Cruz was that type of guy. He was the best as far as reading defenses. But I take it another step further. Who was probably the greatest influence on me was Reuben Brown. When he came in, he had the 9 Pro Bowls, 8 Pro Bowls coming from Buffalo. But not only did he teach me things on the field, but off the field, he was a very, very special person to me. You know what I'm saying? We ended up being very good friends, and we still are friends to this day. We still talk and, catch up. And, whenever he hits Chicago, whenever I'm in town, we get up and we hang out. So Reuben Brown, he always dropped knowledge on me. And, once I got to see a different aspect of professional football. And then, those guys had fun with the best of them. So I always point to those two guys, guys who really laid some knowledge on me and taught me some things, in my young NFL career.
Steve, one real quick question, too. This is the critic again. Want to ask, a lot of people, you played in UFL as well. You had a stint there for a quick second there, and then now you're playing in the Arena Football League. What's really the difference in, I guess, competition and just kind of the things that you deal with at that level versus the NFL level?
Well, obviously, NFL is the pinnacle. With the Arena, they want to consider themselves their own profession. It's indoor football, and it's a professional indoor football, and it's a different style. But as far as the type of competition, you got a lot of guys who are hungry that want to get to the NFL. I was able to be there, and I'm doing this, and hope that I do get another chance at the NFL. But it's just for the love of the game. I love being around my teammates, and that's why I'm still playing and playing in Arena. And I played back in '08 in Arena, and I enjoyed it. That's why I decided to come back. But the game is, Arena football game is an exciting game. It's I call it basketball. It's like, you got the whole music playing, and it's a little more exciting, like it's fast paced. But at the end of the day, you got guys who sometimes know this is about as good as they're going to get, and then you got those guys who are hungry and just trying to get that look, at the UFL or get that look in the NFL. So the competition is competition. You got great athletes out there, and there's just so many people, only a certain amount of slots that you have on the NFL roster. So, it's good to have another league out here and give guys the opportunity to continue to play, continue to, play the game they love and have an opportunity and, just chase that dream again to the